Leroy Anderson's Sleigh Ride is setting the mood for us in that lovely arrangement for piano trio performed by the Champlain Trio as they invite us to hop in and take a lovely ride through a nostalgia-filled world of Christmas past with their own present-day flair. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Helen Lyons here in Vermont Public's Stetson Studio 1 with a live audience of special friends and supporters of Vermont Public. We're all set to enjoy our annual holiday concert with, as I said, the Champlain Trio. We'll hear more about that as we chat with them in a moment, but first we'll carry on with their music as our little sleigh ride continues with some more holiday pops themed music. We'll enjoy Winter Wonderland. Have yourself a merry little Christmas, and for those bah humbugs out there, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. A little wonderland of holiday pops music performed by our artists this afternoon, the Champlain Trio. Letitia Quante, violin, Emily Taubl, cello, and Hiromi Fukuda, piano. And we are going to find out a little bit more about everything right now as we chat with our trio. Emily, so you make all these videos and you're finding arrangements of holiday music. Do you change up the program every year?
We do. We keep the classic favorites, but every year we go on the hunt. I will credit Hiromi for finding our arrangements. It takes an incredible amount of time and effort to find good arrangements, and we find them from arrangers all over the globe, and we buy them, and then we spend, usually starting around September or so, tweaking them, and we'll go up to the dress rehearsal being like, I think that should be this or that, and so it really, they're amazingly well-done arrangements that we've kind of put our own twist on. And the videos, yes, I will not claim to be a pro, but they're a side project when I'm not playing my cello.
And I mean, you know, I went to your concert last year, and the thing I was so struck by, I mean, it was just great to see, you know, literally kids from 1 to 92 in that audience. And I think this is a great way for kids to be introduced to like this traditional classical form of the piano trio.
Yeah, we see sadly less and less kids at classical concerts. We go through New England and tour a lot, and there's usually 2 or 3, and we love to introduce kids to classical music. We're so passionate about sharing that, so we make the tickets a very affordable price so families can come and make it their tradition, and we use the screen as a way to get kids to feel comfy and settle in, and also to tie in something they're used to seeing with something they're not used to seeing, and also just showing that a cello, a violin, a piano can do such a wide array of things.
Absolutely, yeah, it's lovely, this tradition you've started. And speaking of traditions, Hiromi, you come from Japan, where Christmas is not celebrated, but you were mentioning something earlier about a wonderful Christmas musical winter tradition. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. In Japan, Christmas Day itself is not a public holiday, so people still work and such. But instead, for families, the biggest holiday in Japan is the New Year's. So from December 31st and January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4 days in a row, it's public holiday. Everything shuts down. And so here, I think the most common thing you hear around holiday time is Handel's Messiah or Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker. And in Japan, this is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. And it is wonderful because the big chorus, of course, the Ode to Joy, that can include a lot of amateur musicians. And so there are massive sing-alongs in these concert halls on the New Year's Eve everywhere. There's a bit of an interesting history why this became such a phenomenon in Japan. I think after, in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in its entirety was not performed in Japan until, I think, 1917 or 1918. And this was during World War I. And during World War I, Japan was part of the Allies. And the country hosted a group of German prisoner of wars in Japan. And they were very much integrated into that community. They went out in town and helped with, the technologies, and they brought a lot of knowledge, culture with them. So when the war ended, that was November, and when they were liberated, they wanted to actually host a musical event to thank people who took care of them. And that was when the Beethoven Ninth was premiered in Japan. And of course, and given the circumstances, the chorus was only male voice, and instruments were, just they really made them. So I don't know how they put together an entire, that's, more than 1 hour of symphony, but they did it. And I think the local people, they were struck with, of course, the music itself, but also the message of joy, the unity, brotherhood that very powerful message that Ode of Joy has, and it stuck around. I grew up with that.
That's such a lovely tradition. That's excellent. And that sort of helps us segue into our next segment of music, a little more classical influence. And we're actually going to start with a piece from your new album, Forgotten Voices. It's not strictly a Christmas piece. It's titled Soir, or Evening, by Mélanie Bonny, but it does create that feel, that calm quiet of Christmas Eve. So we'll move into this next segment with Mélanie Bonny's Soir, followed by Greensleeves, and we finish out with the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. The magic of Christmas time with that second set of pieces, Twas by Mélanie Bonny, Greensleeves, and Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. That's the Champlain Trio performing here on our annual holiday concert here on Vermont Public Classical. I have to say, you three make it very difficult to host a radio program when I keep tearing up at the beauty and the sensitivity with which you play. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so let's just talk about some Christmas traditions. Letitia, we haven't really heard from you yet. Your family comes from Hungary and Belgium. What's Christmas like there?
Well, for both of those cultures, it's definitely a Christmas Eve tradition where normally we get together and have a big dinner and stay up late telling stories and some gifts and then go to a midnight mass, of course. And I just always have really great memories, at least in Belgium for sure, of my grandfather used to do sometimes actual candlelight lighting on the tree, which freaked out all his daughters, all 5 of them, who were very nervous about it.
Real candles.
Yeah, real candles that we would clip and be very careful with. And yeah, so it's mostly a Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yeah. And Emily, you're a new mom. Your little girl's about 2 now?
20 months.
Almost 2. Is Christmas Eve that excitement for her? Is she getting it now?
She's starting to get it for sure. Last year we were in just survive the holidays with an infant, and this year we're actually like, oh yeah, she's going to remember things, right? And so my husband actually we just talked this week about what do we want our traditions to be. You know, both of us have beautiful memories and holiday traditions with our families, and you know, what does that look like for her? And that's new for us. You know, is it listening to a movement of the Nutcracker every morning? Is it a cookie we always make? Is it something like this, right? And so we're still in the process of figuring out our new family traditions.
Excellent. And the theme of Christmas Eve takes us into our final set. And you very kindly have asked me to participate.
Oh, you're doing us a favor.
It's a dramatic reading of "Twas the Night Before Christmas." I'll just share a little of one of my holiday traditions. So I think I'd mentioned this to you, which kind of spurred this. I turned 50 this year, I don't mind telling you, and still to this day, on Christmas Eve, the Lyons family sits down. My dad and my sister and I sit on the couch, and he reads us "Twas the Night Before Christmas." So I'm sort of thrilled to be asked to participate in this, our final segment of our holiday concert here on Vermont Public Classical. "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, with visions of sugar plums dancing in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. On the lawn, there arose such a clatter. I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eye should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. Eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Thank you very much. That was a whole lot of fun. My thanks to the Champlain Trio for bringing these wonderful arrangements of holiday pieces. You have been listening to the Vermont Public 2025 Holiday Concert live here from Stetson Studio 1 with the Champlain Trio. Thank you so much to the Vermont Public supporters who are here with us today. You are amazing, and we are truly grateful for your support of Vermont Public and the arts in Vermont. And huge thanks to everyone here at Vermont Public who made this live broadcast possible. Last but not least, thanks to all of you for listening. We wish you all a very happy holiday season. And now we will send things back to Walter Parker in the classical studio.